welcome to another video. My name is Ilse and today I'm going to tell you what I have been reading for the past 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. So, hi, my name is Ilse if you're new here. Right now I'm filming with my new camera and I'm so excited. Hopefully I'm in frame. I mean, I can see myself because I have a viewfinder, but hopefully you can see me like without blurred because I'm still kind of learning with my new camera. I'm not used to Nikon cameras, so I'm doing my best here. Like the title of the video says, I'm going to tell you what I have been reading for the past 6 months. I haven't read a lot. I'm actually behind 7 books in my reading challenge, my Goodreads reading challenge. I think I said I wanted to read 50 books. I've only read 20 books, but that's okay. The reading rush is happening this week that's coming up, so hopefully I get a lot of reading done. Hopefully I get a lot of reading done. So yeah, so I'm gonna tell you what I have been reading for the past 6 months. So bear with me because I'm very bad at explaining what the books are about, and I really try hard not to spoil something. So if I'm not being very clear, that's because, okay, so bear with me. So the first book that I read in the year was Lies by Aletha Romick. I'm gonna put a picture somewhere here. And it's the second book in the Web of Sin series. Aletha Romick basically writes a lot of new adult contemporary books. And I have read not all of her books, but I have read like her major series or trilogy. And I really enjoy it. Mostly because she does a lot of like plot twist sort of thing. And like her stories are very dark and her characters are just very intense. But other than that, I really love her books. So basically what the series is about, I'm going to tell you what the series is about because since this is the second book in the series, I cannot really tell you much about the book. But basically what the series is about, because I already finished it, obviously. Again, I'm just, you know, throwing stuff out there. Either way, I am basically going to tell you what the book is about. Go ahead, Elsie. Go ahead. So basically the series is about a girl who has to basically leave where she lives and start a new life in some other place because she is part of a very important family where her parents were murdered or killed, I guess you could say. And years pass and she cannot go back to this place where she's at, but circumstances led her back to that place, and that's where she meets this very wealthy, very manly man, I guess you could say, and things happen from there. Things are very sketchy, things she doesn't understand, and it's just her trying to figure out what is going on, like about her previous life before she had to like change her whole life completely. And this man basically just, you know, changes everything, I guess you could say. That's basically like the whole plot, like, well, the beginning of the series. And I think I did a pretty good job explaining that. So pat in the back, you'll say. So yeah, that's basically it. So I gave this book, I think I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Let me check. No, I gave it 3 stars. That's a shocker. I gave it 3 stars, not because I didn't like, now I remember, not because I didn't like it, but because it was just kind of odd, I guess you could say, the book. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, the next book that I wrote is basically a memoir, I guess you could say. It's by a YouTuber called Brittany Louise Taylor. I'm gonna leave the book here next to me. Hopefully you can see it. I'm looking at the viewfinder because I don't know if I'm actually gonna put it there, but it's here. It says A Sucky Love Story, and basically she was in a very bad relationship, in a very abusive relationship, which she ended up pregnant and having her child. So she's basically explaining what she went through when while she met this man, and then during her pregnancy, and how she got out of that abusive relationship. And a lot of stuff happened like right in front of our eyes, and we just couldn't see it because, as I'm saying, she's a YouTuber and she used to upload videos a lot, like vlogs and whatever, and then she had her child, and then just things went really downhill from there. So I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it 4 or 5, no, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it's basically her telling the story of how she survived or came through with this relationship, abusive relationship. And I felt like she was a very strong person to come out to say this, because not everyone has the strength to do this. So yeah, that's basically what the book is about. I mean, it's not really something new. If you go and watch her videos, you can, I mean, her previous videos where this man was there, you can see it. Like, everyone was actually kind of concerned at some point. So yeah, I'm gonna leave her videos, I mean, her link to her channel down below. She's pretty awesome. Her child is adorable. So yeah. So the next book that I read is actually the third book in the Web of Sin series by Elisa Romick, which is Promises. I'm gonna leave it here. So this book is basically like the ending, I guess you could say, of the series. And I really actually enjoy it, mostly because this is where the book that everything just flew back into place. Everything just started making sense. And it flew better as I read it. So it wasn't as sketchy and as weird as I thought it was gonna be, like, because since the first one and the second book left me kind of confused. So this one was a bit much more, I don't know how to say it, more smooth, I guess you could say. So I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. So the next book that I read is actually a reread, which I always reread this book whenever I'm like in a slumpy sort of mood and I just feel like, you know, having my heart broken 1,000 times. That is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Wait, I have a book. Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Here it is. I always reread this book whenever I'm in a kind of like a slumpy sort of mood. And this is one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books. I think I should make like a video about how, like, which is my favorite and like order of my favorite Colleen Hoover books, because she's actually my favorite author. Not a lot of people like her. I really enjoy her books, so they make me feel comfortable and they're not really that hard to read or to get into. So sue me. So yeah, I reread this book. This is a reread for me. I read it like once or twice a year, so maybe you'll see this later on in another video. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Basically the story is about a girl. Her name is Tate and she's a nurse, and she moves in with her brother who is a pilot, and she meets this person whose name is Miles, and he's also a pilot with his brother. And well, they get into this relationship, like kind of like a friends with benefits relationship, and you know, things get ugly, and she finds out that there's more to Miles than just, you know, the sex, as you could say. They fall in love and things just go up and downhill from there, I guess you could say. I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it's my favorite Colleen Hoover book. I'm not gonna give it less than that. So the next few books that I'm gonna put here on the screen are the books that I read. I count them on because I actually read them, because I'm a teacher, and after school I used to tutor a boy, so I used to help him with his homeworks and all of that, and some of his homework required reading, so I count them as reading because I had to read it with him. So I'm just gonna leave some of the books here, and I'm just gonna tell you like briefly what the books are about. They were going through a subject where they were like doing like natural disasters, what you would do if a natural disaster hit you where you live, and stuff like that. So that's basically it. There's really not much more I can tell you what these books are about, and I think the titles are pretty much in your face. So yeah, I'm just gonna put them here. Those are the other books that I read because I count them. I still count them. So the next book that I read is actually a book that I needed to read in order to do a presentation for work. I had to present a class with my coworker, and we decided to read this book, and it's called The Out of Sync Child by Carol Stock Harowitz and Lucy Jane Miller. She's a contributor. Basically what this book is about is, I don't know if it would consider a self-help book, but it's a book basically telling you that we as humans have 5 senses, but some of our senses are more heightened than others. So basically, for example, I don't know if you were a kid, if you liked to have your hair brushed, or if you would cry getting your hair brushed, or like cutting your nails, or like getting into like the mud. Some people don't like going into the mud. Well, some kids like playing in the mud, but the other kids, that their sensation is too much that they cannot. going to the mud. So basically it's telling you what those senses, or like heightened senses and look like not responsive senses you have, and that you need to be aware of, so that the child or the kid could feel more comfortable. So it's basically giving you like ideas of what you could do inside, like in this case inside the classroom, for you to help the child, and also at home. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, like I said, this was more work related, but I did read it, and I was actually very interested, because it made me more aware of what my students needed at the time. And also it just made me really think about growing up, about mostly one of my brothers, who is very sensitive to certain things, certain stimulus. Like, he doesn't like going to the sand. Like, he's very sensitive with the sense of the touch, like how he is perceiving it. So it just makes you think a little bit more about those kinds of things that you didn't really grasp before. So yeah, that's basically what it is. Okay, so now when we get to these 3 books, it's a trilogy actually. It's a series, and it's actually a new adult contemporary series with a twist of paranormal, I guess you could say. Paranormal. It's basically a vampires sort of book. Well, welcome back, Ilse, to filming. It's basically like a paranormal type new adult contemporary book, I guess you could say. I was really craving vampire books for some reason, because the only good vampire books that I personally love is Vampire Academy. Vampire Academy is the epitome of perfection. If you have not read those, please go read them. Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead, perfection at its best. Either way, so I read this books. This book is called Blood Type, Blood Match, and Blood Cure. And these are all by K.A. Lindy. I don't know how to say her last name. Basically, it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic world in a sense as well. Man, I really don't know how to explain these kinds of books, but I'm trying. Basically, the books are about a girl who goes... Basically, vampires rule the world in a sense. And they have this company where they have... people who donate their blood for vampires. And I guess you could already tell, it's kind of like saying like, oh, you're a blood whore if you do those things and blah 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 or whatever. So she goes there and she meets this obviously a very handsome vampire, and she's like very overtaken with him. But there's also very sketchy stuff happening in the company, so she's kind of thrusted in that kind of world where she really didn't need it to be. She really just wanted to have a better quality of life for her and her brothers, because they lived in a very poor circumstances. And in order for her to give her brothers that comfortability, I guess you could say, is that she kind of sacrifices herself in order for them to have that, and for her to have that as well. So that's basically it. I cannot really tell you a lot more of the things, because it's very complicated, and I think I would be spoiling you if I told you more. So there we go. Okay, so the next book that I read is called That Not So Nice Guy by Iris Gray. Iris Gray is one of my like new adult go-to authors. Sometimes her books are a hit or miss for me, like this one. This book really, like, I wanted to see like a best friend relationship developing into a more kind of like mature, I guess you could say, relationship, I guess. I mean, like boyfriend and girlfriend, I don't know. It was just very weird. Like, it's not that I didn't like it. It was just, I don't know. I don't know if like the going back and forth with the two main characters was just not sitting well with me, or what it was, but it just wasn't working for me. So I think I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, because I did have some really enjoyable moments, but at the same time there was just some where there was like no. So yeah, that's basically it. This relationship is basically best friends going into like exploring their relationship into more, and the girl really likes him, but then she doesn't really want to like him because she doesn't want to change the relationship she has with him, and so on. So yeah. Okay, so after I read that, I went and read Saga Volume 5. I have not caught up with the books or the comics. I still have volume 5, 6, and 7 to read, but I think I'm gonna read those during the reading rush week. So yeah, I really cannot tell you what this volume is about, because this is, like I said, is volume 5. But what I can tell you is that this is basically a story about two cross-star lovers in outer space, and it's basically where there is this going to war against the different species, and it just has a very political issues going on here. Like it's kind of like relatable, like in the world that we live in right now. But it's very good. The art is beautiful. I absolutely love the art. It's one of my favorite things about this type of things. So yeah, that's basically it. And I think I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. So okay, the next book that I read is actually also by Iris Gray, and it's called Arrogant Devil. This one, oh my god, this one is so good. Like I said, Iris Gray is a hit or miss for me sometimes, but this is really good. So this is basically a new adult contemporary book, and it follows a girl who is basically leaving her husband to live somewhere else because she finds out that he's a lying asshole. I just to say some words. He's a lying asshole. So she goes to Texas and she meets this beautiful man who is now her boss, and he treats her like shit. But they're basically also like, they have like little bickering between each other, and they kind of like fall for each other and stuff. And I really enjoy this because it actually show like build up in this relationship. Like it showed them from being nice to friends, and then like they started seeing each other differently and stuff like that. So this is the type of books that I love. So it wasn't like, it was very slow, and then it just, when it happened, it was just magical. So I really enjoy this book, and I really recommend it to read it if you are into new adult contemporary books. And plus her books are actually really funny. Like it's kind of like a rom-com sort of thing. So yeah. So since I was in an Iris Gray type of mood, I read Make Me Bad by Iris Gray, I think it is. Yes, Make Me Bad. I'm reading here on my laptop what the book is about. I mean the book title, because I was gonna say something completely different. It's called Make Me Bad by Iris Gray. And like I said, this book was amazing. So basically this book is about, like, I don't know how to explain this book. Oh my god. Either way, this book is basically about a girl who has always done good things. Like she has never missed a class. She has never done she's just too nice, if that makes sense. And then she meets this guy who is just gonna make her very bad. So they kind of have like this relationship where it turns also into friendship, but then it just turns out into more than a friendship. But she knows that he is not good for her because of his bad reputation, I guess you could say. But other than that, I really enjoy this. Like I said, Iris Gray is a hit and miss for me, and this was very good. I promise, guys, we're almost done. So the next book that I read after that is actually Verity by Colleen Hoover. Now, where do I begin with this book? So Verity is basically a book that really creeped me out. The book is about a writer who is contacted to write to finish another writer's series, like mystery thriller series. And she goes and lives to this author's house, I guess you could say. But the thing is that the author that she's writing for is basically disabled. She had a very tragic car accident, and she has a really tragic life, honestly. So the husband is the one that is hosting her at their own house, and very weird things start to happen. And she finds out this manuscript of her life, and she starts reading it, and she finds out things that are just, I cannot even describe how creeped out I was by reading this book. But it was amazing. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I cannot. I think this is actually self-published. This is not, this is the Colleen Hoover's self-published book. Like she didn't, yeah, this is her. So I think you can only get this at Amazon and like her website. I don't think you can find them in bookstores or anything. So if you really want to read that, and you want to be creeped out, get this book. And now the last book that I read, or my most recent read book, is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I actually picked this up for a 24-hour readathon. I'm gonna link it down below or somewhere here in the eye. I actually picked this up because I had it in my shelf since it came out. I bought it when it came out and I had not read it. And it's 2000. This book was published in 2017 and I have not read it. So I decided to read it. Plus this is Books with Chloe's favorite, one of her favorite books of all time. So I decided to pick it up. Maybe not the ideal book to read in a 24-hour readathon, but I said, why not? And I actually really enjoy it. I had read Laini Taylor's other books, the Daughter of Smoke and Moan series, and I really enjoy those. So I was really excited to dive into her writing once again because Laini Taylor writes very, very, very beautifully. So yeah, so I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. There's no question about it. It took me a few chapters to get in, not a few chapters, like maybe 2 chapters to get really into it. Because the very beginning I was like, what is happening? But then as you read along, you start going in. Like I said, her writing is very beautiful and sometimes you are very like taken aback with it. But other than that, I really, really enjoy it. So basically this is a story about Laszlo Strange, who is a librarian at this very beautiful library where he really wants to discover the Land of Weep. The Land of Weep is not the real name of this place. It's basically a place that has been erased. And he has been really intrigued by it. And he is part of a caravan to help the villagers or the people that live in Weep get the curse out of that area, I guess you could say. I really cannot tell you a lot more than that. And because it's very, very good. I really, really hope that I can get Muse of Nightmare soon. The reason why I have not read that or have not picked it up is because I bought my camera and I bought my tripod and everything and it's just a lot of money. So yeah, but hopefully I can buy them for my birthday. I'm gonna treat myself for my birthday and maybe I'm gonna start getting Muse of Nightmares so I can finish this because the ending of this book, wow, like I was so mad. So mad, but at the same time it was very good. So yeah, So those are the books that I have read so far. Currently, right now, I'm reading Six of Crows, but I have only read 1 chapter, which I feel really bad about it, but I'm gonna pick it up actually today to read it because like I said, the reading rush starts tomorrow, no, on Monday, I think. Like as soon as the clock strikes 12, hopefully I can start, I can do my TBR. Like I said, I'm gonna link the link down below if you want to watch that because it's a very thick TBR and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to accomplish it, but you know, I'm gonna try my best, try to read, which is basically the goal of this readathon. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Please tell me down below what you are currently reading or what have you read. So yeah, I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!